with all that being said, you're getting two worlds very often, very fast, right? And I think you touched on it, right? Everyone could see your light, right? How much did your experience in both worlds help you in terms of your own confidence, right? Did you ever feel like, what you were doing in terms of those go-go nights, like you were saying earlier, you were picking up skills, right? But how do you feel like those helped you professionally? Right, in terms of your dance world, in terms of what you do now, do you feel like those skills translated? Did you feel like you picked up new skills? Did you feel like your own confidence grew? Tell us about how you felt.
Oh yeah, let's facts. So I'm so glad you asked that question. This is really good because if y'all want to like really tap on facts, everything everything that you've been through is preparation for where you're going. So everything in every stage was all training. Every time I hit that stage at a church, that was training. Every time I hit that stage as a go-go dancer, that was training. Every time I hit the stage in a classroom or every time I hit the stage on performing, period, all of that was training. So it makes me a fierce, untouchable, diverse performer. It's like, and then on top of that, I started taking ballet. So it's like, she from the hood, but she could do ballet, and she could do pole tricks, and she could dance in heels, and she could do hip hop, and she could do praise dance, and she used to be a stepper, and she been on the Mayan team, like, and she from the hood, so she's relatable, and she got soul, and she got fire. Like, everything has been a big gumbo God has been stirring up. It didn't make sense then, but it makes sense now. So who's to say I don't perform at the Billboards or the AMA as the hottest new artist? And they say that, who's to say I can't come out and do a pole routine and then go into a full out dance routine with heels on? Who's to say I can't come out as a ballerina doing pirouettes or even me being a dance girl in college? Even me being a flag girl, who said I can't come out twirling the flag and tapping or doing jazz at the same time? You get what I'm saying? Everything I've been exposed to has been training me to be unstoppable.
So you feel like that is a very essential part of
Hmm.
who LaLa D'iore is right now.
Yes, everything. Because at each moment, it helped me build courage. It helped me build confidence. It had to take me facing some type of fear for me to get up there every weekend in front of everybody and be a go-go dancer. It's not like you're mingling with the people, you're above and everybody is watching you. But everything, even with that, overcoming that fear of people watching me, that helps me now because even before this interview, I was like, yo, I'm shy. I don't think that's something that's gonna ever go away. I feel like that's always my humility tapping in with me. Like, it lets me know that I'm still humble and I'm still hungry for it. I always felt like the moment I don't get nervous, that's the moment I've got so comfortable that it's a norm to me. And I don't even look at it like a moment. It's just like one of those things where, well, I've done it so many times. But every time I get nervous, like it's the first time. Like I'm getting the first shot. And I just feel like that's me still just being humble. So everything I've been through has equipped me to be the person that I am now. And everything that I'm going through now is just going to keep adding on. Like all the training classes, all the working out, everything I'm doing now is just going to keep adding on. I am going to be the greatest. And that's just what I feel.
No, that's right on, right? No, for sure. And I think you can hear it, right, in your voice, you
Hmm.
knowing at an early age just how gifted and anointed you were at what the next level was going to look like. It was never just a moment thing. It was always like you could tell there was something
Hmm.
greater
That
moving on in
imagination
that
is
space.
powerful.
It's scary, isn't it?
Those and scary, those visions are like, whoa. But then I thought about it. I remember playing drumline and pretending that I was a dance girl. And then when I got to college, I was really living it out like a dance girl. And everything else, it all played out just like I imagined. It took timing, but the power of your imagination and those visuals you see, those visions, that's real. You see yourself. You know what I'm saying? So that's where your direction in life and light is headed. It's not for me to see it. Like you see what you're gonna be doing or where this show can take you. That's your vision. You feel that. It's not like a coincidence that you see that. No, that's the enlightenment letting you know, like, this is the direction. this can be possible for you. So for me seeing myself on stages, or me taking my mom's CDs and listening to Toni Braxton and Mariah Carey and Mary J. 411 and pretending that I'm in the video or that I'm on the stage, or me watching the Apollo show and I'm pretending that I'm one of the contestants. Like, it's always been that adrenaline rush, like just on the stage. Like, I can't explain it, but it's like it's always been there. So it gotta be more. I just feel like it gotta be more, and I thank God for everything I've been exposed to, because it built something in me to where I'm not afraid. Even though I'll be extremely shy all the time, but I'm gonna get on that stage, but I'll be shy. Like, but it's something that clicks when the lights come on and the music pop. It's just something that, and it's just, I'm on. I'm ready.
It's almost out of body.
Yes, definitely. And I feel alive. Like, I know that's where I belong. You know, I just get a little discouraging because it's just like, you just never know. You know what I'm saying? Chasing a dream and going through a process. It's like, people always trying to tell you, well, you know, you can go get that 9 to 5, or, you know, like, you should go to the military, or, you know, da da da. And it's just like, to be around people that are so refreshing and they get it, that's a blessing. Because a lot of people don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So it may look like, yo, you could be doing something else or woo, but it's like, you see that vision, you know. It's just a process. And I think that's the overall gist of everything to where I am now. I'm in my process. People always asking, so what's next? I don't know. My life is not my own. I don't know what God is going to do next. Only thing I can do is imagine, do my vision boards, and believe and have hope and walk by faith and not by sight. But I don't have it figured out. Y'all got that part? Please. Like, I'm not one of them that, no. Keep God first. Like, really, like, let him lead and guide you, and try your best at everything and give your all and set some goals and ask for alignment. But I don't have it all figured out. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking it one day at a time and going through my process. So please.
Oh, that's beautiful there. So let's talk about discouragement, right? And we're going to transition to confidence, right? We talked about it from the professional side, right? Of, you know, what skill sets you were able to bring to the table. Let's just talk about it from a frank personal side, right? So you're going into an industry and a field, right, with, you know, go-go and those private parties where now it's not just you, right, in those clubs. It's also, you know, other women who are there, right? So tell us a little bit about that, right? In terms of, did you ever have to compare yourself? Did you ever feel like, you know, oh man, I need to step it up here physically? Like, how did that affect you and your own self-image of yourself?
Being around other women, it kind of just made me feel like I wanted to be, first I was cool with everybody. So that alone set the tone for me to just be like, every woman is beautiful in their own way. So I never was the type of woman where I compared myself to another woman or felt like, oh my God, she's such and such, so I should be such and such. No, I knew off the rip, I never fitted in. Never wanted to. I knew I was different. I knew, like, either I'm going to be the shortest, or I'm going to have the most chocolatey skin or something. Like, my features, like, I knew I never fitted in. So even when I'm around other women, it's just like I find them uniquely beautiful. I feel like every woman is uniquely beautiful. Even in that setting, it's a catty world. So it's like, I already know off the rip, like, that wasn't my style. So I wouldn't get involved with anything like that. So it's rules to the game. You get what I'm saying? It's just like, you follow them, you get what I'm saying? But you don't have to be involved. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I just choose not to get involved. And I knew who I was. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I would do. I knew what I wouldn't do. I knew what was me, and I knew what wasn't me. And nobody could change that. And I think that's where my identity came from. It's like, once you know yourself, and once you know, like, I don't give a what we doing. That ain't that ain't it. Or like when everybody started getting butt shots and boobs and all this stuff done, I was like, nah. And it kind of was one of those things where oh, let me try or something. And it's like, nah, that's not it. You're not even bold enough because you got so much fear in your mind. I'm thinking about, man, what if this go left? Like, what if it turn out ugly? Like, what if something go through my thigh? Like, just all type of stuff. I'm like, yo, it's not for me. And I think the confirmation that I got was when I went with a friend and trying to be supportive. And we was like, okay, we both gonna like get booties. I'm like, okay, I'm your best friend. I support. And when we got there, the doctor told me no. He told me you have a beautiful shape, and if I do this to you, it's gonna mess you up. He told me no, and that was my confirmation that no, you're unique, all by yourself. It's kind of like you already know, but then you have that moment where you either have a best friend or somebody in your life where you kind of want to be the rider. But even though it works for them, it doesn't work for you. And you still have to revert back to knowing who you are. So that's something that always kept me to myself to where I never had to compare or compete with any woman. My confidence grew over time. And once I knew like everything about me was uniquely designed so I could stand out. Like, why do you want to be a runway model and you're short? You know what I'm saying? Or why do you want to be a model, period, and you're curvy? Or why do you have the desire to break the chains of this whole colorism thing? Why do you want to not forcefully, but pit force behind certain things that you feel is like discrimination towards people or women in general? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if it bothers you, that means you're here to make a difference in that area. So I always feel like you can't have a spirit of envy. You can't have a spirit of jealousy. You can't be competing and comparing all this stuff when you're here to do something major. It's a calling. So any atmosphere that I'm ever in, it was never like any ill feelings towards another woman. Not in that field, not at the parties, not at the Onyx. If anything, I was the girl getting the other girls. You know what I'm saying? And whatever route each girl decided to take after that, that was on them. But I was never one of those type of women.
Now let's switch the angle up, right? Let's say, what is that like from the male attention of it? Because now you're in a space where, right, you know, it's a little different. You know, you might catch some eyes doing a little praise dance here and there, but when you on that stage, you know, Saturday night come around, you know, you got the ballers coming out, you know, you got everybody in the city who at that point is looking for someone to look at, right? So what did that do for you in balancing, you know, now all this new male attention you're getting, you know, probably not just in the club, but also outside the club for the people who do know you. And say, oh man, I know that girl. I seen that girl every night, right? How was that for you? How did that, you know, how did that affect you either mentally or in your own confidence or just handling that?
It really made me realize that everything that someone once said was unattractive is really like, no, it's very attractive. At that moment, that's when I knew I had sex appeal. I think that's when I grew up, and that's when it started to reflect like, yo, you're just naturally sexy. Like, you have sex appeal. Like, and I'm like, sex appeal? What's that? I'm just me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, from the male perspective, it was just like, wow, you're just so sexy. Like, and then it became like, for my confidence with my skin tone, the male perspective was just like, yo, you have really beautiful chocolate skin. Like, and I'm like, oh, really? Like, okay, like, oh, and this is just my truth. It was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, and just that whole being of like, I guess of a view of appreciation, like a goddess, you know? And that's when it was just like, wow, you could really like have your way. But no, that's the only thing it probably did for me. It made me realize like all the bully, not necessarily bullying, but the calling me black and or your forehead so big or your nose or your features or you can't be a this, you can't do that. I think everything tapped into the confidence when you consistently see people come in and out of the environment and they're just in awe of your beauty and they're just in awe of you. You know what I'm saying? I think working in the spot when the people come through and the male perspectives and the male views is like, all eyes are on you. That's in that moment when you're on that stage, you see what really draws people's attention. And then it makes you realize, like, yo, you got it. Like Drake in that Chris Brown song. When you got it, you got it. And you know, and guys aren't afraid to let you know because the reaction towards you is not the same towards other women. The other girls that's working at the same spot. You know what I'm saying? Like they become your favorite because they choose to be your favorite. So that's it does honestly it does something to the mind. But it just depends on how you handle it. Like stay humble. You know what I'm saying? But it does build the confidence up a little bit more. Like, okay, cool.
So you said, you know, it almost clicked that you had sex appeal, right? Mm-hmm. At what age or how long have you been doing it until it actually clicks? I think that's a really important piece here. I think that Facts. You said it wasn't even intentional, but like, I think we can kind of take a moment on because there are so many women that are struggling oftentimes to figure out what makes them sexy or where does my confidence come from, or you know, hey, maybe it's like you still see them forming into themselves sometimes, so it maybe take a little longer, right? How long did it take for you, who has done so many great things, right? At what age was that it clicked for you, or like how long in the industry had you been? You know, it's like, okay,
I would say around about 24. I became very consistent with doing shows. When I started doing shows, and that's like becoming a real live showgirl, costumes, heels, everything. At that moment, I knew it was just like, yo, their interaction that I feel like, or how I naturally can embody just feeling sexy or being free, or if I'm whatever song I'm dancing to, I can just deliver it in the manner of like, just knowing in my being, but it would be so natural. It wouldn't be forced at all. Like making eye contact, biting a bottom lip, or just like the motion of your body, or just like how you caress, like all of that, it just would come natural. And then at that moment, I knew it's just like, that's just one of your traits. And it's a very good trait. It's not something that you just, you never know how important it is until you've been in places where, like you said, women don't have it, or they feel like they don't have it. And it's not something that every woman has. And I did not know that. You know what I'm saying? But when you know that you have it, and I figured out I had it like at 24, it's kind of one of those things where it adds dynamics to your performance as a performer, as a dancer. Because think about it, if you go to the strip club and you see a dancer and she's on the pole or she's dancing or whatever the case may be, if she doesn't have any sex appeal or fierceness or any type of like to her, it's kind of just like, ugh. But think about that dancer that comes out and she's just so soft, elegant, sexy, has sex appeal, know how to tease the mind, and know how to draw you in. It's like you're overall like, wow, you put on a show, you entertain. So I'll say that's when I tapped in, when I was like 24 years old.
So do you feel like if you had never been a showgirl, you would have never had this appreciation for yourself as you do now? Or do you think it would have come in a different fashion?
It would have came in a different fashion. Okay. I think it would have always came because of just who I am. And I never just looked down on myself, you know what I'm saying? It just took growing into myself. I'm shocked at who I am now. How honest can we be? Like, I'm like, girl, who are you? And it's a beautiful thing, but I can't say that it's not. You don't know. You're still growing into yourself. So I think I definitely would have still had everything that I have now. It just would have came in a different form off the choices I would have made. I made those choices. You know what I'm saying? So it would have still came, but it would have came with the choices that I made.
So, right. That being said, of course, with as we say, the male gaze, right? You know, with the male attention also comes the male dollar, right? So ballpark estimate, you know, we don't have to get into specifics. How much would you turn over probably on a good night or on a bad night? How much were you bringing in from this?
Okay, so like good nights, like 3 bands or more. Like it was fun. It was really It's the face for me. Like on a slow night, maybe a one band, but see, even as a go-go dancer, we was getting paid by the hour. So you're getting paid $25, $30 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you get all your tips, and you work from like 12 midnight to 4 in the morning, or 12 midnight until whenever it closed. Now, at that time, the club Onyx was booming. It was one of the hottest clubs in Birmingham, Alabama. Still is. But at that time, it was whamming really, 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 really hard. So you had the ballers, you had the who's, you had them coming through every weekend. And once you pick up your being, because you got to think about it, it's all performance. Your character, your costumes, your hair, your makeup. You come to look beautiful every weekend to get on stage on that pole and to go dance for all those hours. People come and go the whole night. They're excited now to come see you. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like one of those things where you build your clientele to where they look forward to seeing you. And to them, it's like it's not a strip club. So you're more appreciated because you're not naked. You're just dressed, whatever your costume is, very sexy, very beautiful. And it's more like a fantasy deliverance, if that makes sense. And you never know. Somebody could be feeling like they want to show out and come in and just throw 2 bands in the air. Or a girl maybe with her homegirls and they just think you're so cute and they just want to come throw $500 on you. It's whatever they feeling. There's no limit to it. And it's not a strip club, so they're not coming like expecting to tip until they get in there and they're like, oh my God, they got, babe, get the, oh my God, she just did a power trick. Oh, and it's just like, you got men and women doing that all night long. Then you got the ones who know about you and they come in there specifically just to throw money and have a good time. So it's like, it's no limit. And then you don't have to pay tip out and stuff like that. All your tips and all your money is yours. So you run it, you know. And then some nights it would be do a party. We lead a party, clock in at the Onyx. So that's bag after bag after bag. You know.
It's not too bad.
No, it's not. You can kind of see why it was kind of hard to like.
It's not a difficult way to spend a Friday or Saturday, right?
Sunday, and let me be very clear. Like Friday and Saturday, you don't go. Sunday, you slugged out, tired. You put in work. You dance all those hours in heels. But you put in work. You get what I'm saying? Like, then on Sundays or some nights, I remember just a bag full of money. Just a bag full of money. And I'm sitting up just counting, eating a chicken box. You know, you always had the food truck outside, so we'll get a chicken box. Or like, I still remember it to this day. That's crazy. But I remember, like, bag full of money. Count up ones. Some may be wet from alcohol. Like, just counting them up. And then, like, figuring out, like, okay, so what am I going to do with all these ones? Because at that time, nobody, like, was teaching you financial literacy. Like, nobody was telling you, like, yo, with all this money, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, nobody's telling you that. You're a girl from the projects who making way more money than you ever thought you could in your life. You got it in yourself. You know what I'm saying? So nobody said go get a banking account. Nobody, and the people you're around, they're not telling you that because they don't know to do that. You know? So it's a lot. You feel me? But there was no limit on the cash at all.
So, you said, oh my gosh, girl, look what you doing a pole trick, right? When you first get into that industry, how much pole development did you have to have in order for that money to be dependent, right? So did you have to actually start to develop your skill set much? You said you picked it up naturally, or did it even matter when you got on stage if you touched it or not?
It didn't even matter. It really, because you already had to set in stone with your dancing. It's just that you popped it off the top when you started pinning pole tricks in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Because you got people who can do poetry all day. And it's just like, okay, cool, they can do poetry. But then you got some people who are just blown away, like, oh my God, you can dance. Like, so I think it's a plus and a plus. You know what I'm saying? So with me, my dancing was already captivating when I was dancing at the Annex. So advancing to like doing little poetry along the way, it was just like, oh my God, okay, you're it. Like, you can dance, you can perform, you can deliver. It was to the point like they were ready to hear certain songs that they knew was my songs. Like Chris Brown and Fat Joe, Don't Be Holding Back Your Love, or like 2 Chainz, It's Your Birthday. Like oh, it was a lot of songs. So it's like, okay, they knew like, oh, she finna cut up. They was excited to see me dance. And then when I added poetry, it just took it off of the top. Like, it's just like, oh wow, she's the truth. Like,
So was that natural for you to pick up? And is there a difference really, right? Because we're talking about so many different styles that you have, in your bag of life, right? Ballet, right? A little bit of model, which takes so much balance to even walk, right? And certain levels of heels, right?
Really?
And then of course to be able to dance in them is completely different, right? How does that translate in terms of that pole, right? Was it difficult to pick up, or is there a new level of body control you have to do? Like,
definitely. It wasn't difficult to pick up because each time, every weekend, when you plan on the pole, the only thing you could do is like jump up and like climb to the top. That's all I could do. So that's all I could do, and then I just drop down. That's all I could do. I did not know me doing that every weekend, trying to just have a little pole, little tease for the people, that I was building upper body strength. So once I started getting to the top, I started thinking like, don't just drop down. Like, hold on. What do you feel at this moment? And I'm like, yeah, I feel my thighs are really tight. Like, okay, let the pole go. So I let the pole go, and I just hold on my thighs. That's how I started developing. So each time I climb up, I'll see what I felt like I was comfortable doing. So the next time I climbed up, I'll let one leg go and keep this leg wrapped around. It's like, okay, lean back, let it go. Like, that's how I did the experience with the pole. So once I kept doing that, it was just like, yo, it's nothing. That music started playing, your adrenaline started rushing. Next thing you know, you think you Spider-Man up there. You start doing stuff you didn't even know you could do. I'm for real. And it's just like doing it every weekend. It's just like, it just kept going. It just kept going. It just kept going. So when I did my first flip, I wasn't afraid of anything else. And then it was just like, just go for it. Like, next thing you know, you're doing a flip, holding yourself by one leg, spinning around. Next thing you know, you drop from the pole into a split. And it's just like, that was the dynamics. And it's also that energy from people. Think about it. Being on stage performing in front of people, and they go crazy. It'd be the same thing as a dancer. And that element, they go crazy, whether they throw a whole bunch of money in the air when you do a trick, or whether they just be like, like, it all ties hand in hand. And I think, yeah, what's up? This your girl LaLa D'iore, and I just finished an amazing interview. But to give you a little more about me, you can follow me on Instagram at LaLa_DIORE. I'll be posting all of my dance videos, dance classes that I teach here in Birmingham, Alabama. The name of my classes is called Power Moves. It's empowerment and encouragement through dance. I just want everybody to come to my class, embrace themselves, and tap in, because we perform. So it's going to be heels, and it's also going to be hip hop. And just stay tuned. There's so much more to come. You can follow me. No, you can add me on Facebook at the same LaLa D'iore, LaLaDiore. Add me on Snapchat. It's the same LaLa D'iore. YouTube, and you can Google me. And just stay tuned. It's so much more to come, and I thank y'all for tapping in with me on this journey. And I love you all. Peace.